I was standing in my brother's garage, staring at the $12 in my wallet, when my phone buzzed with the email that would ruin my life, and then rebuild it in a way I never saw coming. The subject line was simple: Final divorce records sign and confirm. Sender: Melvin Ashford, attorney at law. My stomach twisted the moment I saw his name. Melvin, my ex-wife Jessa's lawyer. The man who destroyed me in court. The man who spoke about me like I was some charity case she had tolerated for too long. The man who made sure she walked away with the house, the car, the savings, everything. But something about this email felt off. Different. Urgent. I tapped it open. Inside wasn't paperwork. It was a single PDF file, no explanation, no instructions, just one line typed in the body: "Do not forward this. Do not save this, just review." I hesitated. My thumb hovered over the file. The garage felt suddenly smaller, walls closing in. My brother Dave's voice echoed from outside. "Ro, you hungry? I got leftover pizza." But my eyes stayed glued to the screen. Against my better judgment, I opened the PDF. My breath caught. This wasn't divorce paperwork, not even close. It was a chain of bank transfers, millions of dollars moving through offshore accounts, ending under one beneficiary named J. Grayson, my ex-wife. But that wasn't the worst part. Right under her name there was another, backup signatory, Roland Grayson. Me. My knees went weak. I leaned against Dave's workbench. Backup signatory? For what? For $87 million. None of this made sense. The sound of a car horn from the driveway made me jump. Dave poked his head into the garage. "You good? You look like you saw a ghost." I didn't answer. My eyes were locked on the page, specifically the signature line. My signature, forged perfectly. I whispered, "Someone's trying to frame me." Dave stepped closer. "What?" But before I could explain, my phone buzzed again. Another email from Melvin. "Delete the file right now. This was sent to you by mistake. Do not keep it." My hands went cold. My heart hammered. Mistake, mistake my ass. If it was a mistake, why was he panicking? Why was he telling me to delete it instantly? Why was I the backup signatory for $87 million? Dave saw the look on my face. "Ro, what happened?" I think Jessa and Melvin are into something illegal," I said quietly, "and they used my name." Dave grabbed the phone, read the email, and swore under his breath. "Holy, Ro, they're trying to pin something on you. This is big." Before I could respond, a black SUV pulled up outside the garage. Windows tinted so dark you couldn't see inside. Dave narrowed his eyes. "You expecting someone?" "No." The back door opened. Two men in suits stepped out. Not cops, not neighbors, not repo guys. These men moved like they didn't knock. They entered rooms expecting people to obey. Dave whispered, "Ro, this ain't normal." One of the men called out, voice flat, "Mr. Grayson, we need to speak with you." Dave stepped in front of me. "Back up, identify yourselves." The man flashed a badge too fast for me to read. Financial Crimes Division. But the badge didn't look right, and neither did they. I gripped my phone so hard my fingers hurt. "Mr. Grayson," the second man said, "we need your device. You've received a file related to an ongoing federal case." Dave barked, "With a warrant." The first man ignored him and stepped closer. "We're not here for trouble, just hand over your phone." My phone buzzed again. Another message from Melvin. "Whatever you do, do not talk to anyone, do not give your phone, keep the file hidden." Dave saw it. "Ro, this is a setup. They're not feds." The men stepped forward like they were done talking. I backed into the garage. "What is going on? Who are you?" "We said," the taller one replied, "financial crimes." A voice cut him off from across the street. "Step away from him." A woman in a hoodie got out of a beat-up Corolla. She walked fast, focused, confident. I recognized her instantly. Lena. I hadn't seen her in 6 years. She used to work with me at county inspections. Smart, sharp. The only one who ever told Jessa she didn't like how she treated me. What the hell was she doing here? The men tensed immediately. "Ma'am, this is restricted." Lena flashed her own badge, slower, deliberate, real. "FBI Financial Response Task Unit. You two are not supposed to be here." The men froze, not scared, but caught. Lena looked right at me. "Roland, get inside now." I didn't hesitate. Dave grabbed my arm and dragged me through the house. Behind us I heard raised voices, threats, Lena shouting authoritatively, then footsteps running. "Row, go," Dave yelled. We blasted out the back door, jumped the fence, and sprinted toward Dave's old truck parked down the street. We dove inside. Dave floored it. The tires screeched as we tore away from the house. My chest was tight, my hands shaking. "What the hell was that?" I gasped. Dave kept driving. "Whoever those guys were, they weren't cops. They wanted to disappear you." My phone buzzed again. A text. "Unknown number. Do not go home. Do not answer calls. Meet me at 9th and Harlow. Midnight." I stared at the phone, at the PDF, at the forged signature, at the SUV fading behind us. "Dave," I whispered. "Yeah, I think Jessa's been planning this for years." Dave pulled the truck into an empty parking lot behind an abandoned hardware store. Engine off, headlights off, both of us breathing like we'd sprinted miles. He looked over at me. "Row, start talking from the top." My throat felt tight, but I forced the words out. "Jessa's lawyer sent me a file, by accident. Or maybe not. It shows $87 million being moved into offshore accounts, with her name, and a forged signature of mine." Dave stared. Long, quiet, processing. "87 million, he finally said. "Where the hell would she get that kind of money?" "I don't know," I whispered. "But she wanted me gone. She took the house, the savings, everything. And now this? Dave, she's framing me for something huge." He slammed his palm against the steering wheel. "That damn woman. I knew she was sneaky, but this is criminal." I leaned back, head against the seat, breathing shaky. Images kept flashing in my mind. Jessa smiling as the judge gave her the house. Melvin shaking my hand like he'd already buried me. My signature under a fortune I never touched. Dave said quietly, "Row, you think she was planning to pin some financial crime on you?" "I think she already has." Before either of us could speak again, a car rolled slowly past the parking lot entrance. Then reversed, then parked. Dave tensed. "We're leaving." But the car didn't approach. It just sat there, headlights half-dimmed, watching. "It might not be them," I whispered. Dave gave me a look. "You want to bet your freedom on that?" I didn't. He restarted the engine and eased us out the opposite side of the lot. When we reached the next block, the car didn't follow. Still, my nerves were shot. We drove in silence for a while, streetlights passing. My phone buzzing every few minutes, calls from unknown numbers. One from Jessa, two from Melvin, all ignored. Dave finally pulled into an all-night donut shop. The neon glow made everything feel unreal, like we were in a bad movie. We sat inside, far corner booth, backs to the wall. Dave sipped his coffee. "Tell me what you know about Jessa. Anything shady?" I rubbed my face. "Honestly, no, she just wanted more, always more. A bigger house, a newer car, better vacations. I worked overtime to keep up." "And she worked too," Dave said. "Real estate, that's where most of the fraud crap happens." I blinked. Real estate. My mind raced back. The late-night calls. The sudden trips for showings. The new friends she never wanted me to meet. The unexplained deposits she said were bonuses. A cold wave washed over me. "Dave, what if she wasn't just a realtor?" He nodded slowly. "Money laundering happens through properties, Row, shell buyers, fake transfers, offshore accounts. It fits." "And using my name," I whispered, "would give her a clean fall guy." Dave leaned forward. "Which means that file wasn't sent by mistake. Someone on the inside wanted you to see it." "Melvin?" I asked. "He sent it, but he also freaked out and told you to delete it. If he wanted to help you, he'd have said nothing." He was right. So someone else accessed his account, someone who wanted me to know. My phone buzzed. A text from Lena. "If you want the truth, you show up. If you don't, you'll spend the rest of your life running." My stomach clenched. Dave saw my face. "You trust her?" "I used to." "That's not an answer." I looked out the window at the dark street. Trust was dangerous. Not trusting might be worse. "She showed up at the house," I said. "Saved us. Those men weren't cops." Dave nodded. "So she's not trying to get you killed. That's a decent start." I looked down at my hands. Dave, what if this is bigger than Jessa? What if I'm in the middle of something I don't understand? He shrugged. Then you get answers. You meet Lena. I swallowed hard. Midnight, I whispered. 9th and Harlow. Dave finished his coffee and stood. Let's scope the place first. We left the donut shop and drove toward the industrial district. Old warehouses, shut down factories, dark alleys, perfect place for secrets. When we turned onto Harlow Street, I expected trouble. I didn't expect 3 more SUVs parked in the shadows. Dave muttered, "Damn it." I lowered myself in the seat. Are they waiting for me? Either that, or they're waiting for someone else who knows something. He pulled into a loading bay across from the street, engine off. We watched. At 11:58 p.m., a single figure walked out from behind a warehouse, hood up, hands in pockets, purpose in her step. Lena. She stopped directly under a flickering street light and looked around, calm, confident, like she did this every night. Then she saw our truck. She motioned sharply, "Stay," then pointed at the subs. "Not them, wait." Dave clenched his jaw. "Row, she's signaling you." My heart pounded. "But look at those vans. This is a trap waiting to happen." "No," Dave said. "A trap would have already sprung. This feels like surveillance." We waited. Suddenly, from the far end of the street, a car engine revved, fast, aggressive, headlights off, coming straight toward Lena. Dave shot upright. "Row," the car sped up. Lena didn't run. She didn't flinch. The SUVs roared to life at the same time, all 3 engines blasting as they shot forward, blocking the incoming vehicle. Tires screeched. Metal slammed. The speeding car spun out and crashed into a dumpster. Lena didn't even blink. She walked straight toward the wreckage. Then she turned and looked at our truck again. This time she pointed directly at me and mouthed, "Now." My pulse thundered. Dave looked at me. "You going?" I breathed out slowly. "I don't think I've got a choice." Dave squeezed my shoulder once hard, like he was passing courage from his hand into my bones. "Row, stay behind her. Don't say anything stupid. And if anything looks off, you run. Got it?" I nodded, my throat too tight for words. I pushed the truck door open and stepped into the cold midnight air. The smell of burnt rubber and hot metal from the crashed car filled the street. Lena met me halfway. Up close, she looked different than I remembered. Leaner, sharper, eyes carrying the weight of someone who hadn't slept properly in weeks. "Roland," she said quietly, "you and I need to talk, but not here." She glanced toward the SUVs where agents, or whatever they were swarming the wreck. One of them flashed a light into the driver's seat and shook his head at her. She nodded back like she expected that outcome. I swallowed. "Lena, what the hell is happening? Who were those guys earlier? Why is my name on $87 million? She held up one hand to stop me. "Not here." "They're listening." My pulse spiked. "Who's they?" She leaned in so close I could feel her breath. "The people your ex-wife works for." My stomach dropped. "Jessa, she's a realtor, not some—" "Roland," Lena interrupted gently, "stop thinking of her as the woman you married. Start thinking of her as someone who's been laundering money for a syndicate you do not want attention from." My breath stalled. Lena scanned the shadows again, then jerked her head toward a narrow alley between 2 warehouses. "Walk. Don't run." I followed her, trying not to look back but failing every 2 seconds. As soon as we were deep enough into the alley that the street noise faded, Lena stopped, turned, and grabbed my face between her hands. "Roland, someone inside the syndicate made a mistake, or maybe they got sloppy. Either way, your signature ended up where it shouldn't be." "My forged signature," I corrected. "Yes, and if they think you're the leak, you'll disappear before sunrise." My blood ran cold. Then why the hell did they send guys to my house pretending to be financial crimes? "They weren't pretending," Lena said. "They are financial crimes." I stared. "No, those guys weren't real. They flashed fake badges. They're real, Roland. They're just dirty." I felt the world tilt. "You're telling me federal agents are working with Jessa and her lawyer?" Lena nodded once. "And they needed your signature on that file to finish a transfer. The moment you signed your divorce documents, you became legally vulnerable. Easy to blame, easy to bury." I leaned against the alley wall, dizzy. "I was their fall guy," I whispered. Not was, she said. You are, and unless you do exactly what I say, you're done. She took a step back, studying my expression like she was trying to measure how much more truth I could take. You want the short version or the full version? I want the truth, I said. Everything. She exhaled and rubbed her temples. Okay. Several years ago, Jessa got recruited into what looked like a luxury real estate investment group. Rich clients, offshore holdings, high-end properties being flipped with cash. But the money wasn't real estate money. It was washed cartel money. And part of the laundering process required setting up dummy signatories. People with clean records, people like you. But why me? I croaked. Lena's eyes softened. Because Jessa told them you were predictable, quiet, too trusting, someone who signs whatever's put in front of him. The words hit like a punch. I never signed anything like this, I whispered. You didn't need to. They had your identity, your tax records, your past mortgage documents, more than enough samples of your signature to replicate anything. I closed my eyes. 7 years of marriage, and she'd been studying me like a project. Lena rested a hand on my arm. Roland, listen. The transfer in that PDF, it wasn't supposed to land in your inbox. That file is restricted to internal operatives only. Someone intentionally forwarded it from Melvin's system to yours. Who? I asked. She hesitated. Only for a moment, but I saw it. Someone who wants Jessa and the syndicate exposed. Someone who needed an outsider to see the trail. I frowned. Who inside would betray them? She didn't answer. Instead, she asked, did you open the whole PDF or just the first page? The first page. Her jaw tightened. Damn it, the last page matters more. She pulled her phone from her jacket. This alley is clean enough, show me the file. I opened the PDF, scrolled. The second to last page showed a chain of timestamps, transaction IDs, and offshore banks. Then the final page, and my blood iced over. At the bottom was a signature line labeled, Final Release Authorization Witness. And underneath it was a signature I recognized instantly. Not mine, not Jessa's, not Melvin's. It was Lena's. I stumbled back like someone hit me. What the hell is this? I hissed. Lena's face didn't change. Roland, listen. You're in the file, I snapped. Your signature is there. Why? She stepped closer, voice low, steady, controlled. Because I'm undercover. I froze. She continued. For 18 months I've been inside their financial pipeline. My job was to identify the chain of dirty agents and find the leak in their system. Then someone above us both, sent that file to you. Not to me, to you. I stared at her, pulse exploding in my ears. Why me? Because whoever leaked it needed someone outside the chain, someone innocent, someone who wouldn't be suspected as an operative, someone Jessa underestimates. Her eyes locked onto mine, and someone I could trust. I don't trust you, I said brutally. She nodded. You shouldn't, not yet. But right now I'm the only person not trying to bury you. My voice cracked. What am I supposed to do? Lena straightened. You're going to disappear, tonight, quietly, with me. I can't just vanish, I said. Dave, your brother will be safe, Lena said. They wanted you, not him. She paused. Roland, there's one more thing you need to know. Fear crawled up my spine. What? Jessa didn't frame you out of greed. Lena swallowed. She framed you because she thinks you caught something you were never supposed to see. What? Lena leaned in. Your ex-wife believes you know who killed the auditor who tried to expose the syndicate 3 years ago. I blinked. I don't know anything about you do, Lena said softly. You just don't realize it yet. The air felt razor thin. What do I know? I whispered. Lena looked toward the street, then back at me. We need to move, now, before their second team gets here. I grabbed her arm. Lena, what do I know? She met my eyes. Something that could bring the whole operation down. We moved fast. Not running. Just a sharp, determined walk through the maze of old warehouses behind Harlow Street. My adrenaline was high enough that every shadow looked like a threat. Lena kept glancing over her shoulder, scanning rooftops, alley corners, street reflections in windows. Don't look back, she murmured. Just keep pace with me. But my mind wasn't on the shadows. It was stuck on one thing. Your ex-wife thinks you know who killed the auditor. I didn't know any auditor. I didn't know anything about cartel money, syndicates, dirty agents. I was a quiet, middle-aged guy who fixed things for a living and ate leftovers 3 nights a week. What exactly do I know? I demanded. Lena led me around a corner into a storage yard filled with shipping containers. We don't have time for the full breakdown, she whispered. But 3 years ago, a compliance auditor contracted by Homeland Security flagged a series of real estate transactions linked to the syndicate, the same pipeline your wife works for. I frowned. I never heard about any of that. That's the point, she said. You weren't supposed to. We slipped between two stacked containers, metal walls towering over us like a steel canyon. But during that audit, Lena continued, something slipped, something involving your house. My house, she nodded. Your mortgage history, your tax returns, your equity transfers. Something inside those documents caught the auditor's eye. Something small but fatal for the syndicate. I shook my head. Lena, I didn't notice anything. I sign whatever the bank sends. That's why you were useful to them, she said. But you still saw something. Something you thought was meaningless. Something that auditor flagged before he died. My pulse spiked. Died how? She didn't answer, which told me everything. Jesus, I whispered. Lena turned, stopping beside a locked container. She punched a code into the padlock and the metal door clicked open with a hollow echo. Inside was a small, hidden room, makeshift safe house, foldable table, a map pinned to the wall, a backpack, 2 burner phones, a file box. Dave would have lost his mind seeing all this. I stepped inside, swallowing. You prepared this. For weeks, Lena said. I knew they were getting close. She shut the metal door behind us. The container hummed with the sound of distant traffic. Then she pulled something from the file box, a worn, faded manila envelope. My throat tightened. Open it, she said. I hesitated. What is it? It's the last thing the audit officer mailed before he vanished. I felt my heart thud. And it's addressed to you. My hand shook as I took the envelope. The name written on it was unmistakable. Roland Grayson Personal. My breath stopped. He sent this to me, I whispered. Why? Because you're the last person who saw him alive. I froze. No, I said. No, that can't be right. I've never met any auditor. You did, she said gently. You just didn't know he was one. My head spun. When? I croaked. She pointed at the envelope. Open it. I ripped the seal. Inside were 3 things. A photograph, a receipt, a handwritten note. The photo hit me like a punch to the gut. It was taken inside my old house, my driveway. And standing next to my truck was a man with a clipboard. A man I recognized. Oh my God, I whispered. It wasn't an auditor. It was the guy I'd thought was a mortgage inspector. He came 2 years ago, an unannounced documentation review for a refinancing option I never applied for. He had asked me questions about my home equity line, about Jessa's business income, about a property she purchased under both our names, a property I'd never seen. At the time, I thought it was a banking mix-up. That same night, Jessa had a meltdown screaming about stupid bureaucrats, slamming doors, calling her lawyer at midnight. I thought she was just stressed, but Lena was staring at me. Something clicked, didn't it? My mouth went dry. I remember now. He asked me about a warehouse in Ridgewood, said my name was on the documentation. I told him I'd never bought one. Lena nodded slowly. That warehouse was a laundering site. I sank onto a metal crate, breathing hard. And the receipt? I asked. It was from a gas station near Ridgewood, directly on the route between my house and the warehouse. The date was from the day he visited me. Look at the time stamp, Lena said. I did. He bought fuel 7 minutes after leaving my driveway. That meant he went straight from my house to the warehouse, or someone followed him. Then I unfolded the handwritten note. The penmanship was rushed, shaky. He's lying to you. The transfers aren't hers. They're his. Check the backup signature logs. Be careful, they're watching. My skin crawled. Who's his? I whispered. Lena exhaled. That's the part that got the auditor killed. She reached into the file box again and pulled out another printed page, a digital signature record. 2 signatures highlighted. Jessa Grayson, and underneath, Melvin Ashford. My blood turned to ice. Melvin, I whispered. Jessa's lawyer, he's the one behind the accounts. He's the architect, Lena said. Jessa was just a delivery mechanism. And you, she pointed at me, were the insurance policy. I felt sick. You're saying Melvin murdered the auditor? Lena didn't blink. And he will kill you too. Unless we move fast. My hands shook uncontrollably. This wasn't just a divorce. This wasn't just betrayal. This was a criminal empire, and I'd been dragged into the center without knowing. Why would Melvin use my name? I asked hoarsely. Because your record is clean, Lena said, and because he assumed you were too naive to ask questions. She put her hand on my shoulder. But you opened the file, you asked questions. And that means you're a threat. I felt the container walls closing in. What do we do? She didn't hesitate. We expose them. How? I asked. She opened the backpack and dumped out. A small laptop, a flash drive, a fake ID, a burner phone, a pistol. My pulse spiked at the gun. Lena, I'm not a spy. I'm not. You don't need to be, she said. You just need to survive. She typed fast on the laptop. I'm pulling the transfer trail from your PDF. If we capture the metadata before they wipe the server, we have evidence that'll bring down half their network. She glanced up. And Roland, once this starts, there's no turning back. My voice cracked. I didn't choose this. She held my gaze. No, but now it's chosen you. A loud metallic clang echoed from the yard outside. Lena froze. Her eyes snapped to the container door. My heart hammered against my ribs. Row, she whispered. Someone's here. The metallic clang echoed again, louder this time. Then footsteps, slow, heavy, deliberate. Like someone wasn't searching, but approaching something they already knew was there. Lena held up her hand, silent command. Don't move. I froze. Another sound followed. A dragging noise. Boots scraping the gravel outside the container. Lena moved silently along the wall, her pistol held low, angled upward, professional, controlled. She flicked the safety off with her thumb. My breath caught. She mouthed, "Stay behind the crates." I backed into the shadows, heart slamming against my ribs so hard it hurt. The footsteps stopped right outside the container door. One breath, two, three, then a soft tap. Not a bang, not someone trying to break in, just a single polite tap. Lena's jaw clenched. She leaned toward the door just enough to listen. Another tap. This one slower. She mouthed, "Not them." I had no idea what that meant. The metal handle creaked, turned, but didn't open. A man's voice came through the steel, rough and calm. "Lena, it's me. If you open that door with the gun pointed at my chest, I swear I'll break your wrist." Lena's eyes widened, but not with fear, with recognition. She exhaled. "Damn it." Then she holstered the pistol. I whispered, "Who is that?" She didn't answer. She unlocked the door and cracked it open. Outside stood a tall man with a shaved head, wearing a faded denim jacket and carrying a duffel bag that looked heavy enough to flatten me. He stepped inside without waiting for an invitation. The moment he saw me, his face hardened. "That him?" he asked Lena. "Yes," Lena said. The man's eyes scanned me like a scanner analyzing a barcode, sizing me up, measuring threat level. I instinctively straightened even though my legs were shaking. He tossed the duffel onto a crate. The sound it made was wrong, too solid, too metallic. "Name?" he asked. "Roland," I said. "Good. Listen, Roland." He folded his arms. "If you get me or her killed tonight, I'll haunt you." I swallowed. "Who are you?" Lena answered for him. "This is Kane." The name hit me like a shove. I'd heard of him. Everyone had. Ex-military. Former federal agent. Disappeared after blowing the whistle on a corrupted internal task force. A ghost. Some said he died. Some said he became a gun for hire. Some said he lived off-grid, dismantling criminal networks piece by piece. He looked at me like someone who'd seen enough darkness to be unimpressed by anything else. "All right," Kane said, pulling out a folded map. "We have a problem." "That's an understatement," I muttered. He ignored me and pointed at 3 red circles on the map. "These are the syndicate's nearby extraction points. If they grabbed you tonight, Roland, you wouldn't have made it out of the city." My stomach twisted. "So those men weren't there to talk," I said. "They were there to erase you," Kane finished. And anyone who helped you, I blinked slowly. That included Dave. Is my brother safe? I whispered. Kane shrugged. They weren't after him. But if he interferes again, they'll put him on the list. Cold fear gripped my spine. We need to get him somewhere safe, I said. We will, Lena replied. But first, we need to secure the evidence. Kane pulled a small hard drive from his duffel. This contains everything I've collected on Melvin's operation for the past year. Offshore accounts, shell companies, internal memos from dirty agents, enough to bury 20 people. He pointed to the laptop Lena had opened. But the missing piece is in your file, Roland. The metadata on the transfer, I frowned. Why is my part so important? Lena answered. Because the transfer that triggered the hit order happened under your name. You are the legal trail. Without you, their whole chain collapses. Kane nodded. We need your file decrypted and merged with my intel. Once that's done, we expose them. How? I asked. Online, FBI, IRS. News, they both gave the same humorless laugh. Those agencies are compromised, Kane said. Internal affairs is the only unit we can trust, and even that's a gamble. So what's the plan? I asked. Lena flipped the laptop toward me. You're going to finish the transfer trail. What? She pointed at the highlighted transaction numbers. Your PDF is incomplete. The syndicate blocked the last connection. You need to restore it. I shook my head. Lena, I don't know how to hack anything. You don't need to, you just need to answer one question. She scrolled through the metadata. 2 years ago, she said, when that auditor visited your house, he asked you about one document, something involving your mortgage, something you thought was a mistake. My breath hitched. I remembered, suddenly, clearly. A form with a name I had never seen, a signature I didn't recognize, next to a property Jessa never mentioned, a property in someone else's name. I remember a name, I said quietly. Something with an R, Kane repeated. Say the whole thing. It was weird, foreign, like Rulven, Lena froze. Roland, think this is important. I closed my eyes. The memory came back piece by piece. The paper, the signature, the auditor frowning. Jessa ripping it from my hands. My mouth went dry. Rulven Trust, I whispered. That was the name. Lena inhaled sharply. Kane muttered, holy hell, what? I asked. What's Rulven Trust? Lena turned the laptop toward me. On Kane's hard drive was a name I recognized instantly. Rulven Trust primary beneficiary, Melvin Ashford, my blood iced. That trust, Kane said, is the shell company they've been hiding behind for 10 years. And the auditor saw a transfer from Jessa's business into Rulven, Lena added. He flagged it and that got him killed. I clutched the table to stay upright. So Jessa used my name to funnel money into Melvin's trust, I whispered. Yes, Lena said. And when the auditor traced it back to your mortgage line, Melvin panicked. I stared at them. Then why frame me? Why target me? Lena hesitated. Because Melvin thinks you have something that can destroy him. Something the auditor gave you before he died. I blinked. What? I don't, Kane cut me off. You ever find anything strange in your house, Roland? Mail you didn't open, a package, a key, a USB drive, anything? No, I said. Nothing. But then a thought hit me so fast I nearly dropped. Something small, forgettable, something I shoved in a drawer years ago. I whispered it aloud. There was a key. Lena and Kane exchanged a look. Kane grabbed his bag. Where is it? My voice shook. In the garage. Kane zipped up the duffel. Then we're going there now. Lena grabbed my arm. Roland, listen to me. If Melvin sent a second team, they'll be waiting. I swallowed hard. What kind of key was it? Kane asked. I took a shaky breath. It was a safe deposit key. Kane swore. Lena grabbed my jacket. Roland, that key might hold the evidence that gets us all killed or saves your life. I felt myself trembling. Then let's go get it. Kane killed the lights, cracked the container door, and scanned the yard with predator-like stillness. All clear. Move. Lena grabbed the backpack, handed me one of the burner phones, and pressed a finger to her lips. No calls, no texts, only answer if it's me or Kane. Understood, I nodded. My nerves were electric. My heart wasn't beating, it was slamming. We slipped out of the shipping yard and moved fast across the industrial blocks, staying in the shadows, keeping low. Kane walked ahead, Lena behind me, switching between watching our backs and scanning rooftops. "This is insane," I whispered. "No," Kane muttered. "This is Tuesday." Lena gave him a look. Not helping Kane. After 10 minutes of weaving through alleys, we reached the spot where Dave had parked earlier. His truck was gone, my stomach twisted. "Where the hell?" Kane held up a hand. "Relax." He moved it. Look, a small piece of white tape was stuck to a lamppost. An old code we used in inspection days. Safe/not-followed/go home. Lena sighed. "Good. Means your brother's fine." Relief washed through me so hard my knees went weak. Lena squeezed my shoulder. "Focus, Roland. One crisis at a time." We moved toward the residential district, our pace steady and quiet. "Roland," Kane said, "you're absolutely sure the key is in your garage?" "I'm 99% sure," I said. "I tossed it in an old toolbox, bottom drawer, never thought about it again." "What made you keep it?" Lena asked. "I didn't," I said. "I just didn't throw it away. Thought it belonged to some mix-up with the refinancing paperwork." Kane grunted. Auditor knew what he was doing. He needed that key off him before Melvin's people grabbed him. My throat tightened. "How did he die?" Lena shook her head. "You don't want to know, but it wasn't quick." The air felt colder suddenly. We took the long way to my neighborhood. Kane insisted on 3 detours, 2 backtracks, and a loop around a construction yard. "Checking for tails," he explained. Finally, after nearly an hour, my street came into view. Dark, quiet, innocent. It felt unreal that this quiet little row of houses had become the center of a crime web. Kane stopped us behind a line of parked cars. "All right," he said, "we go in clean. Lena takes rear entrance, Roland stays between us." "And you?" I asked. Kane smirked. "Front door." "No, wait," I said. "If someone's inside," he was already moving. Lena grabbed my arm. "Don't worry, Kane doesn't die." "That's not comforting," I muttered. She actually smiled. "Then stay very close to me." We approached the house. Kane reached the front door, drew a weapon, and twisted the knob. Unlocked. He slipped inside. Lena and I hurried around the side of the house and entered through the kitchen door. The house was dark, silent, but not empty. There was a smell. A wrong smell. A faint chemical odor mixed with cologne. Lena whispered, "Someone's been here." My blood turned to ice. Kane's low voice echoed from the living room. "All clear. No hostiles." We entered the living room and saw him standing near the window. His eyes flicked to me. "They were here," he said, "and they were searching for something." My heart sank. "The key, either that," Kane said, "or the envelope the auditor sent." My knees nearly gave out. "But I never got an envelope." "Yes, you did," he said flatly. "You just haven't found it." Before I could respond, Lena moved past us. "Let's check the garage. If the key is still there, we're lucky." We hurried through the hallway and out the interior door into the garage. My workshop, my sanctuary. Now a war zone. Drawers slightly open, tools moved, boxes shifted. They had searched carefully, quietly, trying to hide the fact they'd been here. Kane scanned the room, jaw tightening. "Pros, they didn't want to spook you. They want you alive until they find what they need." That didn't comfort me. Lena crouched beside my old steel toolbox. "Roland, bottom drawer, right?" "Yeah." I opened it, slowly, holding my breath. Inside were random screws, an old wrench, a broken light switch, and a small brass key. Worn. Number stamped on top, 314 billion. My chest loosened. "It's here." Lena exhaled. Kane nodded once. "Good. That means they didn't find what they were looking for. We're ahead of them by maybe an hour." I took the key and held it tight. "What does it open?" I asked. "A safe deposit box at Peterson and Gold Bank," Lena said. "That's where the auditor stored the real evidence." Kane zipped his duffel shut. "We leave in 5 minutes." But before we could turn, the garage light flickered. Once, twice, then died. Darkness swallowed us. Lena hissed, "Kill phones, kill anything with a screen." We went pitch black. A second later, a red laser sight swept across the garage wall. My breath vanished. "They're here," Kane whispered. Another laser appeared, then another. 3 in total. A quiet click, the sound of a suppressed weapon readying to fire. Lena grabbed my wrist hard. "Get down, Roland." Shots exploded silently, just faint PHFFT sounds, but they tore through the garage walls like knives. Sparks flew, tools fell. Something metal shattered near my head. We dove behind the workbench as Kane returned fire, controlled bursts, quick and precise. Another barrage of suppressed shots answered. The attackers were close, inside the yard, probably inside the house. My lungs burned, my ears rang, my whole body shook. Kane reloaded with lightning speed. "They're blocking the exits," he whispered. "Lena, smoke." She yanked 2 small cylinders from her jacket and rolled them across the floor. A thick gray fog exploded outward, filling the garage. Instant blindness. "Move," Lena hissed. Kane grabbed my collar and dragged me toward the side door. More shots sliced through the smoke behind us. A shadow moved in the fog. Another. Someone closing in fast. We reached the side door. Lena threw her shoulder into it. It burst open, but standing outside was a man in black tactical gear, weapon raised. I froze. He aimed straight at my head. My life flashed. Was this it? A single shot fired, but not at me. The man jerked backward, collapsing. Kane lowered his pistol behind me. "Move your ass, Roland." We sprinted into the yard. More shadows, more lasers, more danger. Lena shouted, "To the fence." "Go," we ran. Bullets tore into the grass behind us. Kane shoved me upward. I scrambled over the wood fence, splinters ripping my palms. Lena vaulted over behind me. Kane landed last. We didn't stop running. 3 blocks, 4, 5. Only when we reached the dark side of a laundry warehouse did Kane finally stop, checking the street behind us. No one, but he didn't look relieved. He looked angry. Lena leaned against the wall, catching her breath. "They moved faster than expected," she said. Kane glared at me. "You still got the key?" I opened my fist. The brass key glinted under the streetlight. "Yes," Kane nodded once. "Then we're not dead yet." Kane didn't waste a second. "We move now," he said, grabbing my arm. "The safe deposit key is the only thing keeping you alive. Once Melvin knows you have it, he'll burn the whole city down to stop you." Lena pulled her hood up. "We go to Peterson and Gold. Quietly and fast." My legs felt like rubber, lungs burning from the sprint, but fear kept me upright. This wasn't normal fear anymore. It was something deeper, colder, heavier. Survival. We cut through alleys, staying away from the main roads. Kane kept checking reflections in puddles, windows, car mirrors. Lena monitored the burner phone's signal strength like a heartbeat monitor. Every few minutes, distant sirens wailed, sometimes closer, sometimes fading. But none of us believed sirens meant safety. Peterson and Gold Bank sat on the edge of downtown, a small, quiet building meant for private clients. The type of place rich people used to hide things they didn't want in public vaults. We approached from the alley behind it. Kane stopped us. "We're not going through the front, too obvious." Lena nodded. "Service entrance, staff elevator." "How do you know the layout?" I whispered. She gave a humorless smile. "Roland, you think you're the only one who's been preparing for this." We slipped in through a side door Kane picked open in seconds. Inside, the bank was dark, closed for the night. The quiet was thick enough to choke on. Kane motioned with 2 fingers, down the hall, left, right, wait, move. Every step made my heart slam harder. Finally, we reached a narrow hallway with a glowing green sign. "Vault access, authorized personnel only." Lena pulled out a stack of forged IDs. "Roland, your key will get us in, but the logs will show your entry, so this is your one and only visit." I swallowed. "I understand." Kane leaned toward me. "When that vault opens, whatever's inside, don't hesitate, take it. Even if it's confusing, even if it scares you, just take it." I nodded. We descended a short flight of stairs to a smaller vault room, rows of metal boxes lining the walls like an underground archive of secrets. Lena checked the note I had found earlier. "Box 314 billion. Bottom row, 3rd column." My hands shook as I knelt. The brass key slid in perfectly. A click. The sound echoed like a gunshot in the silent room. I pulled out the narrow box and set it on the table. Lena and Kane stepped close, ready for anything. I opened it. Inside were only two things: a small black notebook, scratched and well-worn, a flash drive taped to the inside lid. My heart sank. "This is it." Kane snatched the notebook and flipped through it. His eyes widened. "Oh, hell!" Lena looked over his shoulder. She inhaled sharply. "Roland, do you understand what this is?" "No," I admitted. "Looks like numbers." "Not numbers," Lena whispered. "Coordinates, dates, offshore account IDs, wire routing locations, password fragments. And these markings," Kane added, tapping the margins, "these are cross-references. This isn't some random list. This notebook is a ledger." I frowned. "A ledger for what?" "For every illegal transfer Melvin ever authorized," Lena said. My stomach dropped. "And the flash drive?" Kane asked. Lena peeled it off, plugged it into her burner laptop. The screen filled with folders, encrypted, locked tight. She cracked one open. Videos, emails, wire confirmations, surveillance clips, a recorded argument, Melvin's voice unmistakable. And then a grainy video from my driveway, the auditor, the same man in the photo. He was staring directly into his dash cam, breathing hard. His voice cracked through the speakers. "If you're watching this, I didn't make it. Rulven Trust isn't what they say it is. It's him. It was always him. The transfers, the forged signatories. If anything happens to me, this goes to Roland Grayson." My chest tightened so violently I thought I'd pass out. "He meant to give this to me," I whispered. Lena nodded. "And Melvin found out." Kane closed the box. "We have everything we need, but now we need to get out before." The vault lights snapped off. Pitch black. Then a slow clap echoed from the hallway. My blood froze. A silhouette appeared in the doorway, tall, confident, unhurried. A voice followed, smooth, cold, familiar. "Well, look at that. Melvin." He stepped into the faint emergency light, adjusting his cufflinks like he wasn't standing in a crime scene. "I was wondering when you'd remember the key, Roland." Kane aimed his gun instantly. Melvin didn't flinch. "You won't shoot," Melvin said calmly. "Not in a bank vault, not when the walls are pressure sealed. One bullet sets off the lockdown and none of you ever leave." Lena hissed, "Step back, Melvin." He smirked. "You should have stayed in your hole, Lena. You were a good little undercover agent until you remembered you had a heart." His eyes shifted to me. "And Roland, you were supposed to be the perfect idiot. Quiet, harmless, disposable." Something inside me snapped. "You framed me," I said, my voice cracked. "You used my name to hide your crimes. You killed that auditor. You," Melvin raised a finger. "Correction, they killed him. I simply approved it." Rage boiled through me. Kane whispered, "Roland, don't move." But I stepped forward anyway. "You destroyed my life," I said. Melvin laughed. Actually laughed. "Oh, Roland, I didn't destroy your life. Jessa did that. I just showed her where to put the knife." That was it. The last string holding me together snapped. I lunged. Lena grabbed me, pulling me back. Kane stepped between us. "Not here, not like this." Melvin shrugged. "You won't get out with those files anyway. Half the city is looking for you, but go ahead, try. I'd love to watch you run." And then he stepped back into the hall. "Goodbye, Roland." The vault door began to close. Kane cursed. "He's sealing us in." "Not if I stop him," Lena snapped, diving toward the keypad. The steel door groaned, closing, closing. Lena slammed an override code. For a split second, nothing happened. Then the vault door froze. 3 inches from sealing shut. Kane grabbed the ledger, the flash drive, the burner laptop. Lena yanked the vault door open with all her strength. "Run!" We sprinted through the hallway. Melvin was gone. We reached the back door. The alarm blared as Lena forced it open. Cold night air hit my face. We ran across the alley, feet pounding, lungs burning. When we reached a dark side street, Kane finally stopped us. He checked our surroundings. Clear. For the first time all night, we were ahead of Melvin. Kane handed me the notebook. "Roland, this is your revenge." Lena gave me the flash drive. "And this is your freedom." Kane looked at both of us. "We take this to internal affairs, directly, no intermediaries, no agents, no emails, only in person." Lena nodded. By sunrise, Melvin will be done. Jessa too. They'll lose everything. I stared at the notebook in my hands. My life ruined, crushed, stolen, and now returned in the form of evidence that would bury two monsters. For the first time in months, I breathed fully. Lena put a hand on my back. "You survived, Roland. Now you take your life back." I closed my eyes and whispered, "Let's finish this."